Welcome to the Writer Reads Flash Fiction from another 365 days of Flash Fiction. Month 4, Day 2, Capture and Release. Get in the ball, you little turd! Clive's shout was as full of frustration as I could wish, which did not mean I was going to oblige. I dodged the glowing sphere a fifth time and heard him swear. It might have been funny if I'd had the slightest chance of getting away. As it stood, the most I could do was make him mad. Generally, I'd advise against that. Oh, for pity's sake! The sphere whizzed over my head, and I hit the ground hard, rolling to avoid it as Clive bounced it into the spot I'd been lying on. Who was the turd now? I clawed my way to my feet and decided to try my luck getting past him. He'd stayed at the gate of the garden I'd been ransacking, and the hedgerows were too tall and too well tended for me to pass, and there was no way I was trying the door. Who wanted to be trapped in a house full of hunters? Not me, that was for sure. Mind you, being trapped in the garden wasn't any better. Your mother's going to have your hide, I puffed. Only if I let you past, he retorted. It was a fair point, and well made. I darted forward, and he moved to intercept me. That had been far too close, and I jolted back, sidestepping hastily to avoid the sphere which he'd rolled in close behind me. He grinned. Not long now, he taunted. He was right, but I wasn't going to admit it. A door opened and closed nearby, but I ignored it. My mistake. The pain of being engulfed is hard to describe, but the second sphere had been well formed and well cast. I tried to rock it through the other side, only to be bounced back, the sphere adding another jab of pain for my trouble. That hurt and left me dizzy. Stay down, girl, as if I was some wild animal needing to be soothed. To be honest, I tried to get back up. I just couldn't. The sphere tightened around me, flowing out to form a second skin, but one too tight to move in. I flexed and it tightened, and I stilled, willing myself to relax. That was difficult to do with the argument erupting around me. She was mine. I gave you half an hour to catch her. She's. Whoops. I gave you a half hour to catch her. She was going to escape. Was not. I couldn't be sure. See? Half an hour. It was time enough. Mother wouldn't agree. It was Mother who sent me out to end it. Look at her. I really wish they wouldn't. I was a mess, my breathing ragged, my limbs trembling. I couldn't even find the energy to resist when they approached. The only question was what they were going to do with me now. After all, it wasn't like they'd be allowed to keep me. The humans might have taken our world, but they still weren't allowed to destroy us outright. We were sentient, for all the good that did us. Honestly, if I ever found out who had made the ridiculous rule about every human having to catch one of every one of us in order to be allowed to stay on this world, I was going to wring their necks. I didn't give a damn what traditional human game the idea was based on. Clive's big brother held a short, thick tube the humans needed in order to control the energy fields they termed magic. I watched his thumb slide over the blue button, and my world faded from sight. The only good thing about that was that Clive and his brother did, too. Fury rolled through me. When I got out of this second skin, someone was going to die. I was going to paint the walls in blood. The magic shuddered around me, and I drank it in. Now, why in all the stars hadn't I been able to do that before? I licked my lips and crouched, watching the world from under closed lids, unhappy to see leather boots standing 3 pairs across, mildly happier to note the reptilian features of the being that quickly knelt beside me. Welcome. I blinked and pushed from prone to upright in a hurry, stumbling back to take a fighting stance facing them, my mouth working as I searched for the words to express exactly what I thought of them, their welcome, and the manner in which they'd brought me to them. The female rose gracefully and held a finger to her lips. What we were thinking, she explained, plucking the question from my head, was that a quiet revolution would be in order once you'd all been reconnected with your magic. My jaw dropped. Connected with? The events that had taken that ability were a century or more gone, but I could feel it now. How? Close and forced contact, she told me, flicking a hand toward a view screen. courtesy of the ones who caused the problem to start with. I eyed the humans on screen. They had been the reason. They had sent the sickness. That pod our ancestors had broken themselves rescuing. It had been sent deliberately. I roared, all the pain. 100 years of blood memory flooded through me in one fell swoop. I turned, wings flaring as I sought some place to fly, and the wall opened to show stars, pinpoints gleaming beyond a canopy of glass steel. The floor dropped away, and I saw a hoop, my world beyond, a captured landscape below, safely contained in an orbital I could barely believe. Fear, wonder, awe, all were lost in the roil of emotions that drove me to leap for the gap and fly. Later, and there would be a later, I would find the female again, and we would speak of this quiet revolution and vengeance, for there would be that too. 100 years of the lost demanded it.